Now, this is a video that I started a couple of weeks ago about expanding the my raised bed area in my garden and putting up some more fencing. Originally, I had fenced in a couple sides of it when I built the first section of it, and with plans to expand the fencing. But this year, for some reason, we've just had a ton of deer, and many of them have been wandering over real close to the garden this year, and nothing seems to be keeping them away, so I figured I better get going on it. So this is a video I started a couple weeks ago. Basically, I was going to wait till the fence was up and everything to finish it, and gates in and stuff, but looks like that's going to be a while, so I figured I'd just post this to just give you an idea of how I'm putting my fence posts in, and making the holes for the fence posts and stuff like that. So basically, I had to level the area out a little bit. It was a little bit high compared to what my other beds were, and I just wanted to keep it tapered down a little bit for drainage, but we wanted to get it, fairly level. So I started with my little John Deere tractor there, just scraping out a little bit of the topsoil that's in there and trying to level the area up a little bit. It sure is handy to have a little tractor with a bucket on it. Sometimes you can do what it would take you 2 days to do in half an hour with the tractor, compared to 2 days with the shovel. So it makes little jobs like this real quick. So basically I got it fairly level to I think it is, at least. I'm just doing it by eye now. So I just leveled it off a little bit, and then just take the rake back and do a final little bit of smoothing for the first pass of it. Basically, this is about all I use my rake for, is just, once you've done a little bit of leveling. And then once I got it raked off, I had to go inside and get the post hole digger out. Now, the first thing you do is just, hook up the PTO shaft on it the way I do it. I've got it mounted on a roll-around dolly just so that I can, roll it out of the way and keep it inside. So first thing I do is hook up the PTO, and then there's the boom arm that goes on there. And if you notice, there's a bushing in that arm, sizing it down to my hitch size. Turns out that when I bought this thing, well, it's probably 20 years ago, I picked it up at Tractor Supply, and I think I paid $199 for the post hole digger and another $50 for the drill bit. And they only had this bigger size unit. It's made for a category 2, but if you put bushings on it, you can fit it on a smaller tractor. If I wanted to get the right unit from John Deere, that was a smaller unit, it would have been $800-900. So I've been living with this ever since, and it works fine. It's just a little bit big for the tractor. And there you can see the that lifting arm. I had to actually put smaller pins in it, the category 1 pins, and then rotate them so that they were facing inward, so that because my lift arms just wouldn't open wide enough to use it the way it's supposed to be used. So it is a bigger unit, but it does work with my little tractor if you're not going to drill too many holes. So pretty much I get everything mounted on the tractor like this. It's the easiest way for me to do it, at least, and takes a little bit of rocking and fiddling to get everything lined up. And then I just kind of pick it up and hang that gear head up in the air, and then the auger actually is hollow in the inside, and it just kind of slips over a shaft on the gearbox here, and you just have to slide it up in place. And then there's 2 half-inch bolts that just kind of slide in to mount it to the shaft. So a little bit of fiddling around to get everything together, but I don't leave it together because I really don't use it that much. I might use it once every couple of years. So now it's back outside, and I like to just, get all my stakes marked out where I want them, and then I just put a little tiny stake in there, and I spray paint around it so that I can, find a spot easy to dig. And then it's just a matter of, using the post hole digger to put the holes in, and that makes it a fairly easy job. But one of the problems is this tractor is it's only a 20 horsepower tractor, and at the speed, the RPMs that it's running at now, at full RPMs for the 3-point hitch at the 540 RPM, it's got 15 PTO horsepower. But I'm just running it, at very low speed right now, and it's probably only got maybe about 6 or 8 PTO horsepower at this point. So you can see how little rocks and stuff like that do, have a tendency to lock it up and make the clutch on it slip. So you have to, with a tractor this little, you can't just drive it down in the dirt. You have to, play with it and go up and down. And when you hit rocks, just jiggle it a little bit and hope that they break free and they're not too big. And if they are too big, you've got to go down in the hole with a bar to break them loose and get them out. But it does get the job done. It's just, it's not as quick as if I had a tractor that, had a little more horsepower and was a little bit bigger to use it with. Yeah, and this is right about at the limits of the tractor 3-point hitch too, because when you pick it up all the way, that auger is only about 4 inches off the ground. There you can see, it's all the way up, and it does give you a real nice clean hole when you're done for the most part. So here I am, just putting in all the holes for the fencing that I'm going to be adding. Now I'm still keeping the big section of the garden open with no fencing, because the deer really don't bother the squash or pumpkins or tomatoes or stuff like that. So not really going to worry about that section. So this is just one of those little handy things to have if you have a tractor and you're going to be putting any fencing in. It does cut the time to put fence posts in by quite a bit, and allows you to go about 2.5-3 feet deep with the posts with no problem. Now once I got all the holes drilled, I put my lines back up there so I would have a good line for the outside of the posts, and then I just went back and checked all the holes and made sure they were aligned properly, and dug what little bit was left out of the bottom of them just to clean them out a little bit. And next thing I did, I just took that post hole digger off, put it away, and then I had to run out and run to Home Depot and pick up some wood for the fence posts and the rails and some fencing from Tractor Supply. But in the meantime, we had a real rainy spring, and it's like every day we got an inch or two of rain, so things were getting real messy real quick. So the first thing I did is I set the corner post and I just throw it down in a hole and put a little bit of dirt in the bottom of it so that I can kind of get that leveled up where I want it. Put a level on it, and it's easy to shift the bottom of the post around so you get it in the proper position at this point before you put too much dirt in. So I just put a little bit in and got it as close to the level as I could, and then just packed the dirt around the bottom, a couple inches of the post, and got that located, and then went back and kind of filled it in. Guess I've never put posts in with this much water in the ground and stuff, and it was kind of a challenge because what would happen is I'd push some dirt down in the hole, and it just would turn to like a mucky mud that was real super soft, so it was kind of hard to get the posts actually set right. They still wiggle around when you got done. It was kind of like wet concrete. There you can see it's just a total mess. Everything was covered with mud, and it took a while, but I did get things, get that first post all leveled up, and then it was just on to the other post that's going to be by the gate. There'll be a gate at each end here. So, same thing, get the bottom kind of located so that's in the right spot before you fill it up anymore. And then, there's the existing fence. You can see I'm just going to level across from that. I want my new fence to be put in at that same level. And, I put some rails on the top and bottom to staple the fence to. So just a matter of taking a level and, just transferring everything out to the new poles, which basically still are a little bit rocky due to that mud that they're in. And then I just cut the rails and clamp them in place. And I like to use these 2.5-inch Kreg screws to mount it together. It's a lot easier than trying to drive nails in. Someday I'd like to get that HD jig that they've got, but for now these work good. I've used them for years like this and had no problem. So, in the Blue Coat Kreg screws, I've got some I used 10 years, or not 10, maybe about 8 years ago, and they still don't show any signs of rusting. So, I think they're a pretty good screw. So basically, I just clamp everything together so, it's aligned with the front of the post when the screws are tightened, and go back through and, put the Kreg screws in. And, this really isn't required for fencing. You don't really need a top and a bottom rail, but I just like the way that it allows you to finish it off and, staple down the fence real good so it doesn't sag over time. So I also like to put a 2x6 at the bottom so I can, staple off to there, and also I can lay down some hardware cloth on the outside, and it makes it hard for any kind of animal to like woodchucks and stuff like that, or even little rabbits, to be able to dig under the edge. So, basically it's, none of this stuff is really required, but I think it makes the fence a lot more secure for the animals, and it makes it a lot easier to install the fencing too. So there it is. I got, working around the corner and, just going back and adding in a post and the top and bottom rail as I go along, and just kept bringing down more lumber and, setting each post. And kind of an easy job doing it this way. I just set one rail, and then I go back and do the next one. And there you can see I had to do a little bit of stepping because I do have a taper in it. So, and it's just terrible mud, everything I worked in. So pretty much, I had some spots where I had to dig a little bit out to keep the level going and stuff like that. But basically, it's a fairly simple job, and there's the basic front fence posts in place and ready for the fencing. And there's how you can tell if they're all straight, is to just look down them, and you can really see if any of them are at a square or level or anything like that. Now, for now, I left the one end open. I still have one more post to put on this end, but I wanted to be able to get the tractor in and be able to do some final leveling out and smoothing out before I started putting the raised beds in. And you've probably already seen I did a video about making the raised beds with the pool parts, and so that was a whole nother video. And someday when I get around to it, I'll be doing a video about finishing up the fencing and how I put the fencing in and stretch it, staple it, and everything. But this basically is, just getting to the point where the posts are up and, it's ready to start planting with the new bins. Now, I also had to move around some of the compost pile I had in the end of my garden there. I've got a lot more leveling to do on the inside here for, to get everything leveled in and blended in and tapered so I'll have drainage. So that was just moving some of the compost around and flipping it over and making some more room to be able to work. So basically, here's the raised beds in place, and this is kind of what it looks like right now. And, I filled them all with compost and stuff, and so far they seem to be doing pretty good. And I'm going to do a quick garden update pretty soon anyway. So I just thought I'd do this first phase of getting the posts in and getting the area prepared. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.